So today I wanted to do something different. I wanted to see if I could play my Nintendo 64 while wearing my Oculus Quest headset by using this little HDMI adapter device. Now, the Meta Quest recently released an update that basically allows us to use this USB-C port as an HDMI in. However, you can't just directly plug an HDMI cable into the headset. You need an adapter like this one, which is the Hagibis USB 3.0 60Hz adapter. Now this came really recommended largely because it has this additional USB-C port, which will allow you to charge your headset and play at the same time. So essentially any HDMI device can be plugged into here, plugged into the headset, and you should be able to see it while wearing the headset. Now the question is, how do we play a Nintendo 64 inside the Meta Quest headset? And the answer to that is by using a video upscaler like the RetroTink 4K. Now, the RetroTink 4K basically will take any signal, for example, your composite, your S-video, it'll take your component, your VGA, or your SCART, at pretty much every old input on the planet, and output it in HDMI up to 4K resolution, which is fantastic. You can also add scanlines and other features. It's literally the best way to play your old consoles on a modern television. I won't really get into details about how it works, other options. There are far better YouTubers that do that, but I will provide some links for your own research, and feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. So, what are we doing? We're going to take our Nintendo 64, we're going to plug it into our RetroTink 4K, we're going to output from our RetroTink 4K into the Hagibis HDMI adapter, which we will plug into the Quest 3, and if all goes according to plan, we should be able to play Super Mario 64 pretty flawlessly in 1080, 60 Hz on the headset. So why are we doing this? Is there any practical application? Not really, but it is kind of fun. Let's get this thing all hooked up, ready to go, and play some Nintendo 64. So one thing I would like to point out, that if you are using an additional battery pack like I am for the Quest 3, you will have to unplug it because the battery pack charger does not do data, it only does power. So this does need to be plugged directly in. That being said, I can plug the battery pack into this additional slot, which will utilize the battery and help charge the headset while we play. Now, this obviously is not ideal. It kind of hangs, it's not super comfy. If I was looking for a more permanent solution, I might find a clip or a clamp or something to the side. Really can't see me using it that much to that degree. So for the purpose of this, we'll just have to let it be a little sloppy. So we are ready to go here. The Nintendo 64 is plugged in to the RetroTink 4K. The RetroTink 4K is the HDMI out is plugged into the Quest 3, and let's get this thing started. Okay, so we've got our Nintendo 64 here, we've got our RetroTink 4K here, and we've got our virtual screen up here, and everything should be good to go. Now, we're using S-video, so it's not going to look phenomenal, but it should look pretty good. So let's try out some Mario 64 and then some Mario Kart.
It's me, Mario.
So it's working, and it looks pretty good, actually. I do have a little scanline filter already set up on the RetroTink 4K, so it does smooth things out a little bit. I will say capturing video while wearing the Quest is a little tricky, so this might, kind of the screen layout might not look ideal, but it's the best I can get it for now, and good enough for this demonstration. But you can see I'm in pass-through mode. So I can see my surroundings, which is really nice. I really like to be able to do that. But another option we have is a theater mode. And theater mode is cool, and I'm not sure how it's going to look. I'm going to make the screen a bunch smaller, which should help. Let's see here. This should look okay. Normally I would have it a lot bigger, but we have two options. We can kind of have a curved window or a flat window. And we can also adjust the brightness. So I like to kind of make it a little darker in my surrounding area. And then I have kind of the perfect environment effect. So, but I will say at first glance, this is really nice.
Please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
I'm trying to keep my head perfectly still so it's not bouncing all over the place. But let's just run around the castle here for a few seconds and just kind of see how it feels. The scanline filter does add an additional softness to the picture. Without it, it kind of looks a little jaggy. I can probably demonstrate that really quick. The RetroTink is so feature-rich. But you can see if I take off that scanline filter, it's still good, but it's a little jaggier from my point of view. But just putting on this simple one with no additional settings, no tinkering, it gives me a nice enough effect. But if I were going to play this or use this seriously as a way to play old consoles, I would definitely want to get into those settings and play around quite a bit and test different things. Unfortunately, the video isn't really going to capture how cool this kind of looks. You know, it's like I'm sitting in my room. I've got my Nintendo 64 in front of me. I could see the controller I'm holding, but I'm playing on this really nice and clear screen in front of me. So I have to say, this is pretty impressive. Now, the million-dollar question is, how does it feel? Is it laggy? Is it responsive? And I have to say, to my standard, it is just fine. It's perfect. Like, it's, it doesn't feel like there's anything I can't do. When I push the button, Mario reacts. I mean, that's all I'm looking for. I'm not super sensitive. I mean, look, I can tell when something's really out of place, but this feels absolutely playable. No problem at all. Yeah, this is great. So, I'm really surprised. This looks good, feels good, sounds good, and kind of provides an experience. So, if you're just looking for new ways to appreciate old games and new ways to bring your old consoles back to life, this is a pretty cool way of going about it. So, let's try Mario Kart really quick. Let's go Bowser. Classic Bowser. Luigi Raceway. Absolute classic. We burned out. I thought it was at the end of the second light. I probably pressed it a little too early. But I think if you really want to test how responsive something is, racing games are always going to be... Racing games and first-person shooters are always going to be the best way to do that. And, yeah, this is fine. This is fantastic. No issues. It's clean. It's smooth. Looks phenomenal. I'm just not very good. Oh, we almost spun out. This is completely playable. There's no doubt about it. This is working really well. I'll have to take a look at the video and see how well it captures, but from my point of view here, I mean, it's no different than playing on, you know, any semi-decent monitor. All right, well, let's pause there, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, here's the mess that we're left with to wrap things up. And I have to say, I was doing this as a bit of a joke. I thought it would be funny. When I heard that the Quest 3 was able to accept HDMI in, I thought, oh man, I can use my RetroTink. This is gonna be ridiculous. But the result, I'm pleasantly surprised. It looked great, sounds great, played great, and I'm definitely gonna, you know, try this in some different scenarios around my home. Maybe comfortable on the sofa, try to make it like a 100-inch screen and play some Zelda or something like that, and that's going to be a really good experience. I'm not necessarily an expert on a lot of these different types of inputs, how they work, the technicality behind them, but I really just kind of wanted to showcase something a bit silly here for you today. So I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. I appreciate if you followed this to the very end. What's the use case for this? Hard to say. I don't know if there is one, but it's certainly fun to do, and I think that's just how I like to play with retro games. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time with whatever other weird retro stuff I have going on. Cheers.